Souls games are easy, if you let them be. One of the biggest things I've argued on this channel is that Souls games secretly let the player choose the difficulty. Specifically, the more you explore and level up, the stronger you'll be for any given boss. But how strong can you be? Without any crazy glitches or exploits, how easy can you make the game? And what's the best way to do it? Well, today I wanted to talk you through what I think is the best way to make the game absolutely trivial for any player. Starting with the class to pick. When trying to make the game easy, I personally always start with the knight, because the shield is really good and straight swords are easy to use. Before we can do anything, we have to beat the first boss, Skundir. If you've never touched a Souls game before, he may kill you a few times, but he's fairly easy, and once we beat him, we can begin properly tuning the difficulty to game reviewer level. A lot of his attacks will miss if you circle around him like this. You can hold block to make doing this totally safe. This also works on his phase 2. With him dead, we unlock Firelink Shrine, and with it the ability to upgrade weapons and leveling up. Leveling up is super easy with our build. Put 2 points in health for every 1 point in endurance. This is all we are going to do until we have 40 vigor. There's 2 things I recommend doing before we move on from Firelink Shrine, and it's this tree jump. It's technically a glitch, but doing this jump will get you an extra healing item, as well as a ring that increases how many souls drop. Super nice. Go on over to the blacksmith and give yourself that extra heal. Then allocate your flasks so that you only have healing ones. We aren't ever touching magic, so you really don't need the mana. With that, we're all prepped for our first area, and ready to break the game. Start by going through the level like normal, making sure to go along the side path to grab the lightning grease. I'd also recommend killing all the enemies, as they have a decent chance of dropping fire bombs, which can help you out a lot. Run past the dragon, and to the second bonfire. Make sure to grab the Titanite shard right over here. From here, go out this way, and we get our first important item. If you walk past this big snake monster, there's a crystal lizard, and killing it will give us a raw gem. This is the first step of easy mode. This gem lets you make your weapon raw. It'll remove most of your weapon's scaling, but massively increases its base damage. Since we're barely leveling strength or dexterity early on, it's basically free damage. Speaking of upgrades, killing this snake will give another shard, but you don't have to bother with him. If you want to kill him, use fire to stun him, swing at him 3 or 4 times, back up, wait about 10 seconds, and repeat. From this rooftop, we're going to drop down and take this route. On the left side, you can grab another free shard, then past the shield knight, in a small room on the left, is the broadsword. That's my weapon of choice, as it does slightly better damage than our normal longsword. Keep going, and when you come to this room, the barrels explode if you use fire. Do with that what you will, but mostly we're just here to grab this healing item. I'm not going to go through every Estus Flask shard in the game, but this one will give us 6 heals before we've even fought our first boss. Continue on until you unlock the shortcut, then go back to Firelink Shrine. Now you're going to take whatever weapon you want to use for this run over to the blacksmith, infuse it, make it raw, and upgrade it as high as you can. If you farm the snakes, you can easily get it to +3, but +2 is already insane for this point in the game. Don't forget to level up before you leave, same deal, 2 points in health for every 1 point in endurance. With this, your game is pretty much won. The knights and regular enemies can still be pretty dangerous, but look how quickly we tear through Vort, the first boss. If you want to speed this up even more, you can use the lightning grease we picked up earlier, but I can basically do my best impression of competitive Mortal Kombat and spam him to death. This run is solved. Up until mid-game. You can use your shield as needed, but get used to dodging attacks as well, because the game is designed to make shields fall off later on. Once every other enemy starts lighting their weapon up with some flavor of fire, you'll understand why. Now you have a choice on which route to take. We easily beat the optional tree boss, and then I choose to go to the poison swamp, because it just feels like home after being in so many of them. Now actually, it's because beyond the Abyss Watchers, there's an area that will make us insanely strong. There's also a lot of really good stuff in the swamp, like the Dream Chaser's ashes up here, which let you buy Titanite shards if your weapon still isn't +3. There's some healing upgrades, and there's also a stray demon that you can take out for fun. Anyway, the Abyss Watchers should be pretty easy. Blocking them can be a bit risky, but you should have enough health that it's really not a big deal, and your weapon will stagger them as long as they're not doing an attack. If this is your first run, you'll probably have more trouble with the swamp itself than the boss. The main thing that really helped me with Abyss Watchers back in the day was that if you see dust or a fire explosion after a swing, it means that was the last swing in a combo. It's a neat little way that the game lets you know that, hey, it's your turn to attack now. Once the Abyss Watchers are down, it's time to go through the catacombs. And going through the catacombs isn't really our goal. No, instead, what we're actually going towards is this bridge, and the smoldering lake beneath it. Reason being that this small detour easily gives you enough large Titanite shards for you to get your weapon to +6, which is as high as you can get it until the end of the game. This also means that this is the last time I'm going to mention grabbing items, so here's a compilation of mashing R1 on bosses. The reason I call this easy mode isn't because this is the most broken build you can make. It's because you really don't have to play super well to beat any given boss. The raw infusion keeps your damage relevant even though you're a tank, and no bosses in the early and mid game can even really combo you to death, except for the wrong group of normal enemies, funny enough. The biggest challenge you'll face is definitely Pontiff Sullivan. His elemental damage and combos make your shield basically useless, kicking that crutch out straight from under you. Congratulations, you've found the one boss where easy mode is turned off. I'd say you have two options for him if you get stuck here. Either do Yorm first, because the souls you get from him will make you much stronger in the Pontiff fight, and Yorm is just a gimmick boss, or accept that you'll have to actually try for a single fight. There's only one real final thing to note. Once you get to 40 Vigor and 25 Endurance, you have a choice to make. If you want more damage, start upgrading Strength or Dexterity. I prefer Strength for this build. Once you get to about 25 or 30 Strength, switch your weapon infusion to Heavy and you'll deal more damage than you deal with Raw. There's massive diminishing returns above 40 health and, to a lesser extent, 25 Endurance, so more really isn't worth it. Alternatively, you can fully lean into being a tank and upgrade your Vitality. This lets you equip heavier gear without fat rolling. I never do this because I just don't like how the super heavy armors look, and fashion is ultimately the real point of playing Souls. So yeah. Continue on, and once you beat the Dancer, you can find Titanite Chunks, which lets you upgrade your weapon to +9. But for the most part, you'll have a very easy run if you follow this build. What I like is that it doesn't rely on glitches or weird speedrun tech. You're just exploring levels the way the game already wants you to. You'll become ridiculously tanky without sacrificing your damage, which means you actually get the chance to learn boss movesets instead of dying in 3 hits. Some of the footage here, I was literally falling asleep while fighting bosses, and I still won. That's what makes me say this is Dark Souls' hidden easy mode, and you unlock it by just playing the game a little bit slower. Anyway, I hope this video has done a decent job convincing you that this is the easy mode of Dark Souls 3. Realistically, any of the Souls games that you play with this slower playstyle where you're killing the regular enemies and going out of your way to explore and level up will become this easy. Except I'd say Elden Ring, where the endgame fights are built around the idea that you have a real build and actually did this. But definitely Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, the slower you play, the easier the games are, and it's not even close. At the cost of, you'll probably die a couple of times in the levels themselves playing like this. I've wanted to make this for a while now. The biggest delay here was just that I haven't really had time to play the game itself. So because I wanted to do a full run using this build to show footage of all the different bosses, including the final boss, it just took a little bit of time. But hey, it's finally done. And with that, I can make my video on Just Cause 3, something that I've wanted to do for a while now, but I just didn't feel like reinstalling the game until recently. As always, thank you so much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, see ya.